Hey, this is In-Fisherman in the studio today. I'm Doug Stange on behalf of the In-Fisherman staff. I thought we'd take a moment to talk about one of the most famous hook designs of all time. It's the kale hook from Eagle Claw, now more than 50 years on the market. Absolutely one of the finest hookers of all time. It's a unique wide gap design. Indeed, because the word kale is proprietary to Eagle Claw, other companies must refer to their hooks as wide gap hooks, not kale hooks. Because of the extreme wide gap, the hook performs almost like a circle hook where all the angler has to do is tighten up and start reeling to get a hook set. However, it's really designed to perform best with an actual hook set. Because the hook is such a perfect design, it works in many situations in fishing and for many different fish species. The Eagle Claw Laser Sharp 141 has a standard hook eye, so use a standard knot like a trilene knot or a Palomar. While the 144, the L144, allows the angler to just use a Snell knot. The hook size range runs from a tiny number 14 up to a 10-aught called the King Kale. Right here, for illustration's sake, this is a number 10 and this is a 7-aught. In smaller sizes, it's a great hook as a leech hook for low float for walleyes and smallmouth bass. The kale design is one of the most famous catfish hooks of all time. The extended hook shank makes it easy to add baits to the hook. The larger sizes are particularly popular for blue cats because the hook holds a lot of cut bait, which means adding more scent and taste to the water to attract larger fish. Hey, a little secret here. If you want to improve your hookup percentage when you're wacky rigging for largemouths or smallmouths, go with this kale design. Put that into practice instead of the smaller gapping on a regular hook. But the hook is probably most famous as a design for coupling with large wild shiners to fish for giant Florida largemouth bass. We filmed this type of fishing, mainly working with Captain James Jackson of the Orlando area, one of the most famous big bass guides of all time. It was Captain Jackson who showed us the now widely famous method for deep hook removal. He and his guides catch thousands of bass each year and they rarely kill a fish. Here are the steps to deep hook removal.
While holding the fish by the lower jaw, look to see if the hook is embedded in the right or the left side of the gullet. The shank of the hook will lie on the opposite side. If the point is embedded on the fish's left side, so the shank is on the right side, work through the right gill cover and vice versa. If the hook eye is out of sight, give a light tug on the line and the eye and part of the shank usually emerge. Using your fingers or a de-hooking tool, reach in through the last gill arch on that side of the fish and pull on the eye so it rolls out below the gill toward the side of the fish. At that point, the barb often pops free of the papery white throat tissue. Reach into the fish's mouth and grip the bend of the hook, which should be facing out of the fish's mouth. Pull it free. If the fish's mouth is too small to reach with your fingers, use a needle nose pliers to grip the hook bend. Moving on, when it comes to hooks, we have so little time and so many other classic designs to choose from. Certainly, the Aberdeen fits the billing as an all-time classic in the panfish realm. Long shank and light wire, or even extra light wire, the Eagle Claw 202 with its famous gold finish has sold millions. It's available in sizes from 10 to 4-aught, and it's one of the most popular crappie hooks of all time.
I'm just going with simple 2-hook minnow rig and Aberdeen hooks, the famous Eagle Claw number 202, and the rigging looks like this. It's called modified, I call it modified Caps and Coleman rigging. You've got 3-way swivel, you've got about a 6 to 8 inch dropper line off of that 3-way swivel, you've got 1.5 feet of line down to an egg sinker, which is anchoring your line and holding everything tight, and then you've got another 6-inch dropper to another crappie minnow. So we'll bait all 2 of them up and away we'll go.
Of course, the bronze finish 214 works just as well in a variety of situations for panfish.
They're just massive, just a handful. I can't even get my hand around there.
These days, rotating Aberdeens like the Eagle Claw 202 are also available. And there's an Aberdeen, the 203, offering a Pro V bend. Finally, let's not focus so much on an individual hook design, but on a category of hooks with a variety of designs for different purposes. Circle hooks have largely caught on within the last 20 years. To qualify as a circle hook, the hook point must ultimately point back at a right angle to the hook shank. These hooks are great conservation tools because they tend to hook fish in the corner of the mouth or some other exit point from the mouth, making fish easy to release.
Look at that. That fish is only like 18 inches long, but it's a solid 4 pounds. Look how deep it is. That is a magnificent specimen of a smallmouth. Ah, wow. So the circle hook by design has this point pointing at a right angle back to the hook shank. So nothing catches inside the fish's mouth. But when it gets to the corner of the mouth, that little point just barely catches. It digs in, there's a cam action to the pull tight, and it sets itself, literally. So there's really no reason to set. All you have to do is drop the rod tip and start reeling, and when the line comes tight, you lift the rod tip up, and you're typically going to get hooks like that. Again though, with this wide gap one, you can even do that a little bit more pronounced. So if you're just getting started and you set the hook, you're still going to get hooks lots of times. Lots of different circle hook designs, of course. This is just one of many.
And so it is. From the earliest hooks fashioned from bone to the exquisite designs for specific purposes on the market today, they remain the most fundamental element in fishing. This segment brought to you by Abu Garcia.